Santa Clara is not putting together some soft, harmless roster. Today we are getting hit from 4 different directions. A 5th-round tackle who might already be holding the future of the left side, a heavy rumor that could bring real heat back to the pass rush without giving the name away just yet, a rookie running back who already has George Kittle and Christian McCaffrey backing him, and a wide receiver taken way too early for a lot of people, but maybe only too early for the people who completely missed the plan. If you are truly faithful, hit that like button right now because this one is coming in with an edge. We go straight to something that absolutely cannot be brushed aside. When Chris Forster talks about Enrique Cruz as a player with future starter talent, that is not just empty praise being tossed out there to make a rookie feel good. Offensive line coaches usually do not hand out that kind of quote for nothing. And with Cruz, the reason starts with the body, the burst, and the number that makes every scout stop and raise an eyebrow. Over 300 pounds, running the 40-yard dash in 4.94 seconds. That is ridiculous for a tackle. It is not just some nice combine number that looks good on a graphic. It is the kind of physical tool that changes a player's ceiling, because every team wants size, every team wants movement, but getting both inside the same package does not show up every single year. That is exactly why him sliding all the way to the 5th round is so interesting. When an athlete with that profile gets there, the league is basically saying something. The raw talent is real, but there is still serious work left to do. That is where a serious franchise separates itself from a desperate one. The 49ers do not need to throw Enrique Cruz into the fire tomorrow. Trent Williams is signed for the next 2 seasons and has said he plans to play through them. Vidarian Lowe is also still on the roster. So Cruz does not have to be the emergency answer, does not have to become some August hero, and does not have to carry reckless expectations before he is actually ready. The correct path is development. Sharpen the technique, clean up the hands, build the base, work on reads, consistency, speed, and power. Because starter traits are not the same thing as being ready to block elite edge rushers on an NFL Sunday. And the good news is San Francisco has already shown that it can be patient with this kind of player. Just look at Colton McKivitz. 5th round in 2020, drafted almost in the same range as Cruz, no major role early, and only 5 starts in his first 3 seasons. A lot of people would have moved on way too soon. But the 49ers let the process play out. Since then, McKivitz has not missed a start over the last 3 seasons and has become a dependable presence on that line. That does not guarantee Cruz follows the exact same path, but it does show there is a method here. And if the question is, who might eventually inherit the left side when Trent Williams finally steps away, the answer may already be practicing in Santa Clara. Not for today, not for cheap shouting, for 2028, for the next cycle. For keeping Brock Purdy protected and making sure the Niners' window does not collapse because of poor planning. And now comes the kind of rumor you cannot just wave away as off-season noise because it hits the exact place where the 49ers bled. Pressure on the quarterback. When Larry Krueger from KNBR puts Von Miller into the conversation as a name San Francisco should consider, a lot of people are going to see the age first and turn their nose up. But that lazy reaction misses the entire point. Nobody is talking about bringing in Von Miller like he is still the monster from 10 years ago playing 50 snaps a game. The idea is way more surgical. Put a future Hall of Famer into specific packages, on 3rd downs, in hunting situations, in moments where technique, timing, and pass rusher nastiness are worth gold. And most of all, put that guy in the room with Michael Williams, Mikhail Kamara, and Romello Height. That is accelerated development. That is private school for pressure. Some details can absolutely be coached, but some details only come from a veteran who has wrecked offensive game plans in January. On the field, through repetition, in the look before the snap. If the 49ers are trying to rebuild the edge rotation, why would they not add a mind like that if the price makes sense? The market situation gives this whole conversation some real room to breathe. Von Miller is an unrestricted free agent after his time in Washington, with his previous salary sitting around $6.1 million. No trade. No draft capital leaving the building. No long drama about giving up a high pick for a big name. This is the kind of bet that can be aggressive without being reckless if the number is right. And there is more. The emotional return to Denver does not seem that simple. Heavy-sided Mike Kliss of 9 News treating a Broncos reunion as unlikely right now. So if the door is not wide open in Denver, a smart contender has a responsibility to at least look through the crack. Now stack that with the division context. The NFC West got more brutal, and this whole topic puts Myles Garrett going to the Rams as a direct earthquake for Santa Clara. Trent Williams summed up the weight of it when he said, "It is not easy." Exactly, it is not easy. And that is exactly why the 49ers cannot act like young players and good intentions alone are going to fix everything. I like Michael Williams. I like Kamara's energy. I like the idea of height growing into something. But contenders do not live on promise alone. Contenders build layers. Bosa needs help. The defense needs to scare people again. Opposing quarterbacks need to feel like third down against San Francisco is not a chance to breathe. It is a problem. So Von Miller to the Niners is a possibility that deserves to be taken seriously. Not because he fixes every hole by himself, but because he could change the temperature of the room, teach a new generation, and give this rotation the kind of venom that was badly missing when the sacks disappeared. If the price is clean, I want John Lynch on the phone. No hesitation. No sitting around while a rival gets stronger and then complaining about it later. Kaelon Black took the hit before he even touched the ball in a real game. A third-round running back? In San Francisco? With this recent history of picks at the position that never turned into major roles in the offense. The criticism came fast, and I understand why it showed up. But there is a big difference between questioning draft value and acting like the player has no case at all. George Kittle did not dance around it when he was asked about him. The answer came fast, very fast. Then came the more important part, very mature. To me, that second word might matter even more than the first. Speed gets attention in practice, but maturity decides whether a rookie can walk into the building, absorb Kyle Shanahan's playbook, understand protection, angles, details, blitzes, personnel changes, and still not look lost when the pressure rises. Black turns 25 in October. For some people, that becomes a knock. For Kittle, it becomes a plus. He likes older rookies because they come in ready to play, without as much of that early immaturity phase, and with a real sense of urgency. And come on, this team is not building some 5-year project. The 49ers need players who understand the clock right now. Christian McCaffrey also praised the way Black learns. He said the kid looks for information, has conversations outside of practice, and fixes things quickly when he gets coached. That matters a ton behind McCaffrey, who is turning 30 and is still the centerpiece, but cannot carry every snap like the body is endless. The primary backup needs to be trustworthy, not just explosive, trustworthy, and Black knows exactly where he landed. He talked about the narrative of San Francisco drafting running backs between the 3rd and 5th rounds who do not play or do not pan out. Instead of running from it, he took it head on. He wants to change his own story. He also admitted he saw the backlash to the pick, and that it makes him want to work even harder to prove the coach right. Faithful, drop your honest answer in the comments. Was Kaelon Black picked too high, or is this exactly the kind of mature player who can protect McCaffrey and shut the criticism down the hard way? Because if he becomes a real piece in this offense, a lot of people are going to have to swallow that reach talk with a bitter taste. And then we get to De'Zhaun Stribling, maybe the pick that made people slam the table the hardest and ask whether John Lynch had gone too far. Top of the 2nd round, pick 33, former Ole Miss wide receiver, bold bet energy all over it. But now Connor Orr from Sports Illustrated puts a prediction on the table that changes the whole tone of the conversation. He believes Stribling will finish ahead of at least one of the 5 first-round wide receivers in receiving yards, receptions, and touchdowns. That is not small. Carnell Tate, Jordan Tyson, Mekhi Lemon, KC Concepcion, Omar Cooper Jr. All of those names came before him, or carry that first-round shine the media loves to treat like some automatic certificate. But football is not a draft ceremony. Football is fit, opportunity, role, blocking, separation, quarterback trust, and the ability to survive in an offense that demands a lot from receivers when the ball is not in their hands. And this is where I defend the 49ers hard. Kyle Shanahan does not pick wide receivers just to pose for highlights. He wants players who understand routes, space, blocking, timing, and detail. Stribling is 6'2", 210 pounds, ran a 4.36 in the 40, and brings real strength as a blocker. That package makes sense in San Francisco. It is not just about running straight and waiting for a pretty throw. It is about winning inside the concept, selling routes, attacking zones, helping the run game, and becoming reliable when defenses start adjusting to McCaffrey, Kittle, Ayuk, and everybody else. The reach criticism got loud because his name was not sitting at the top of the public conversation. But that does not mean he was not high on internal boards around the league. Stribling was a late riser in the process. Maybe the Niners simply reached a conclusion early that other people were only going to admit later, and the numbers help support the idea that this was not pulled out of nowhere. Among 498 college wide receivers with at least 25 targets in 2025, he ranked 21st in passer rating when targeted at 136.7. He also tied for 45th in yards after the catch per reception at 7.3, and ranked 47th in PFF receiving grade at 74.3. That does not scream random player. That points to production, efficiency, and physical tools. Now I'll be tough about it. If Stribling gets on the field and becomes an important piece for a playoff team, the bad value conversation is over. Nobody is going to keep crying about draft slot if he produces in January. What matters is whether he helps the 49ers win. And if Connor Orr is right, the pick that got used against Lynch could become the exact proof that Santa Clara saw the board before the loudest commentators did. I look at these 4 stories and hear the same message knocking on the door. The 49ers cannot play 2026 in comfort mode. I want patience with Enrique Cruz, but I want fierce planning. I want youth in the pass rush, but I am not turning down Von Miller if the money makes sense. I want Kaelon Black coming in hungry to protect McCaffrey. And I want Stribling shutting up everybody who judged before seeing the field. This franchise lives under pressure because it has a roster built to fight high. So I am going to demand more as a fan and defend the read when it is good. If you want this coverage every day, subscribe to 49ers Express and turn on the bell.